The reason that I mix multiple colors into a formula, especially if I'm getting a neutral result, is for balance, accuracy of my results, and reflection of the result that you're going to get, and I will explain why. We're first going to go over the math equation. A plus B equals C is how you formulate hair color. A is the color that you have lifted to in the hair, B is the formula that you put on, and C is the result that you get. But if you're not plugging in the exact colors on this spectrum of colors into those little A plus B equals C, you're not going to get an accurate result. Even though this color wheel has like little boxes and little pie slices, it's not exact little chunks of color. That's not a very accurate depiction of what a color space is, which is on a spectrum. And same with the lifting process with hair. Hair lifts on a spectrum. You're not going to be lifting to these exact little pie boxes. Like you could lift in between shades, and it's really, really hard to visually see those in between shades to the naked eye. So if we think that we have lifted to a level 9, but what happens if we lift in between an 8 and a 9 and there's a little bit of orange tones in there? If you put a violet over the top of that, chances are it's going to actually result in more of like a pinky neutral color. This is why we also need to study the artificial pigments that we're using of the color lines that we're using, because every color line is different on like what actual pigments that they use to make their colors. Some brands, their violet is closer to that actual like blue violet neutral. Some are a little bit pinkier and some are like straight up blue. But even if you have accurately decided that this was a true level 9, there are no orange tones in there, we're going to use the exact blue violet or violet undertone to get perfect neutral. Best case scenario, it's going to go gray. That is perfect neutral. It's going to be so dull and so lifeless of a color, it's not going to reflect anything beautiful. Because the only pigments in your hair is your yellow undertone and your neutralizing color. You can only reflect colors on this line of the entire color wheel when you only use one pigment. And the reflective result matters because when people are living their life, they're in fluorescent lighting, they're in natural lighting, they're in direct sunlight, they're in the dark, etc. And depending on what kind of lighting you're in, your hair color is going to reflect the light that matches the lighting that you're in. And if we haven't balanced our formula by only using one pigment to reflect only this line of color, chances are in certain lighting, the hair is not only going to look terrible, but it could look unfinished, untoned, etc. Because there's nothing in the hair that is going to reflectively match the color of the lighting that you're in. So we need to add natural reflection back into the hair artificially by using multiple colors to reflect in different lighting. So when we add more colors into our formula with purpose, we are creating a little bit more accuracy in the result that we're getting as well. So if we did lift this in-between shade, what color would we pick? I would pick both. I would pick more of a violet color and a blue color to create this like triangle vibe to get balance in this in-between shade, if that makes sense. Not only does it balance this in-between shade so it doesn't go pink and it doesn't go green, but it also reflects all of the lighting within that triangle that you have created with your formula. If you reached it all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate you, and thank you so much for asking this question. It was a great question, and if you have any questions about how I formulate color, just ask them in the comment section below.